I've always said that one of the most difficult aspects of being a solo content creator is being in front of the camera and behind it at the same time, basically filming yourself. But recently it's become a whole lot easier. A little while ago I discovered the HoverAir X1, which on the surface looks like a drone, but I think it's probably more accurate to describe it as a flying camera. And that's because it's not really designed to fly that high, so it's not going to give you these epic high altitude landscape type shots that you'd normally get from a drone. Instead, the thing that I really liked about it was that it was small enough and light enough to simply fold up, and I could put it in my cycling jersey pocket and then take it pretty much anywhere with me on my rides. I could launch it from the palm of my hand and it would be in the air in seconds, and when it was in the air it had 6 flight modes that gave me epic cinematic shots like these. However, typical me, I did have a few issues with it. Fortunately for me though, HoverAir have released an updated version, the HoverAir X1 Pro. So let's take a quick look at it. Although it's slightly larger and slightly heavier than the previous version, the X1 Pro is still small enough and light enough to fold up and put in my cycle jersey pocket. It still launches from the palm of my hand, and it's still incredibly easy to fly. It doesn't need an app, it doesn't need a controller, it uses AI and image recognition to basically fly itself. The 6 flight modes are exactly the same. The first one is hover, and that's when the camera will climb to a set altitude and it will remain there and either be stationary and point in one direction, or you can set it to use AI and image recognition to track you as you walk, run, or cycle along past it. It's a little bit like having a camera on a tripod in mid-air. The next mode is zoom out, and what happens here is that the camera will fly away from you as it climbs to a set altitude. It will then stop there for a moment or two before flying back towards you and descending. It's a really nice shot. The next mode is follow, and what will happen there is that you can set the camera to climb to a particular height as it follows you from behind, again as you walk or you run or you cycle away from it. The next mode is orbit, and what happens here is that the camera will again fly away from you while it climbs to a set altitude, but this time it will fly around you. This is another really nice shot. The next mode is bird eye, and what happens here is that the camera uses its AI and image recognition to place you in the center of the frame directly below it, and then it will just fly in a straight line directly above you. And when it reaches its altitude, it will either just stay there for a moment or it will rotate before flying back down towards you. And then there's dolly track, where it will fly in front of you as you ride towards it. And finally, there's side track, where it will track you from the side as you walk, run, or cycle along. And with continuous firmware updates, HoverAir just keeps improving and introducing new modes. The biggest problem that I had with the previous version was that the highest shooting resolution was only 2.7K, and that was even restricted to 30 frames a second, so it ended up looking like some kind of foreign soap opera or the news or something. Fortunately though, the new X1 Pro can now shoot in 4K, and you have a choice of frame rates. You can either shoot in 24 frames a second, 25 frames a second, 30 frames a second, or 60 frames a second. There's even a dedicated slow-mo mode as well. And if you have an Instagram account or a TikTok account, you can even shoot in portrait mode. The other really big issue that I had with the previous model was that it was a little bit on the slow side. Its maximum speed was restricted to around about 25 kilometers an hour or 16 miles an hour, and sometimes, particularly when I was riding on the flat, that was just not fast enough to keep up with me. Luckily though, the X1 Pro has now got a maximum speed of around 40 kilometers an hour or 25 miles an hour, which is more than enough to keep up with me. The X1 Pro now also comes equipped with some very clever rear-facing obstacle avoidance sensors. So for instance, when you're riding in dolly mode and the camera is in front of you and you're riding along, if it detects anything behind it, it will do its very best to try and avoid it. The HoverAir X1 Pro has an optional accessory that takes your experience to the next level: the beacon. The integrated display ensures you're always perfectly framed and gives you a clear view of your footage as it happens. It's also a tracker that works seamlessly to keep you in the shot with minimal effort. The beacon can also be used on its own as a controller, or you can build it up bit by bit to become a more traditional style controller. On the downside though, the X1 Pro doesn't have any manual image control, so I'm not really sure where the Pro bit comes in. So for instance, there's no way to set a manual white balance. And what that means is that as the lighting conditions change, the camera can make the image slightly bluer or slightly orange to match, and that's just a little bit annoying. However, my understanding is that this is going to be added in a future firmware update. All in all though, I would say that the HoverAir X1 Pro is a really handy piece of kit. It's super easy to fly, it's small, compact and lightweight, and it's in the air in seconds. Those 6 flight modes are going to give you some amazing cinematic images, and the AI and the image recognition means that it's just going to fly itself. So if you are a solo content creator creating content of any kind and you want to get some shots of yourself, then this is going to be the perfect piece of kit for you. But not just that, if you want to use it in a domestic setting, so for instance, say you're out and about at an event with the family, having it with you means that you can be in the shot with them rather than behind the camera taking the photo or shooting the video. But on the downside though, I have to be honest here and say that the lack of manual image controls is a little bit disappointing. And I'll preface that by saying that I've been a professional cameraman for over 25 years, and literally every single professional camera that I've used in that time has had those manual controls. But that said, are we making broadcast TV here? Does it really matter that the image is a little bit blue or a little bit orange sometimes? Does it really matter that we don't have that absolutely correct motion blur? Well, you tell me. If you'd like some more information about the X1 Pro, I'll leave a link in the description below, and that will take you through to the HoverAir website. In the meantime though, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.